Let me tell you what my deep research and basically vision is.
I hope there's Bigfoot. I don't think there is.
I'm not telling you nothing.
The aliens won't let it happen.
Happening now, breaking.
Bernie Sanders is angry.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
What are the tips? Give me some tips on how to work with Wes Anderson.
Be ready to speak very fast and very clearly, because that's definitely one key thing.
I will only tell the truth. I will only
Until you and 6 kids you barely know in wet bathing suits have surrounded 9 chimpanzees outside of a Wendy's. You probably really don't know yourself, okay?
Yep. And we back.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to your new favorite podcast and the best in political, sports, and paranormal news coverage. I'm your host, Wes Anderson, and this is In the Shed. This is episode 83, so whether you're back for more or finding us for the first time this week, hey, thanks for tuning in. It is election night in America, November the 5th. Club going up on a Tuesday, and I am not in the backyard of my home in Alabama in a shed. I'm in the living room. Had to take it inside tonight so that we can keep up with the election, so we can break it down as it happens together. It is 5 o'clock Central Standard Time right now. The polls will be closing soon. I cast my ballot about an hour ago, and it's going to be an interesting night, an interesting election. According to all the so-called experts, this will be one of the closest elections in American history, and it truly could go either way. Almost every poll in every swing state is within the margin of error. And if anybody tells you that they know what's going to happen tonight, they're either lying to you or they are full of themselves. This one truly could go either way. If Harris wins, it will be because she gets a big turnout from younger voters, because so many more women vote for her than for Trump, and because of Donald Trump's high unfavorability. If Trump wins, it will be because the economy and the border are at the forefront of the American mind. It will be a repudiation of the Biden-Harris administration, and the Democrats will have no one to blame but themselves for putting in a new candidate so late in the game, and not their best possible candidate at that. So I'll continue to hit record tonight. We'll continue to break things down as they happen. You can listen to this episode late tonight or first thing tomorrow. But before any results come in, let me just give you my final forecast and prediction of how I see things shaking out tonight. After taking a final look at the latest polls, at early voting statistics, and at certain trends online, this is my best guess. I think that Donald Trump wins Arizona and Georgia. I think that Trump wins North Carolina. I think that in a squeaker, Trump ekes out a win in Wisconsin. I think that he also wins Pennsylvania. I think that Harris takes Michigan, and by a slim margin, Nevada goes to Harris as well. That would put Donald Trump at 291 electoral votes to 247 for Kamala Harris, making Donald J. Trump the 47th president of the United States of America. Now, even though I'm predicting Trump to win and to get 291 electoral votes, I would not be surprised at all if Harris ends up winning this thing, because I think that some of these swing states, particularly Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Nevada, are true toss-ups. And even though the polls show it to be incredibly close, if either candidate gets a win in all 3 blue wall states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, then they will win by a landslide as far as the Electoral College is concerned. Usually those states vote together. I don't know if they will tonight. I'm predicting that they do not. I have Donald Trump at 291 electoral votes to 247 for Kamala Harris. We will see how things shake out, and we'll do so together. All right, so our first results are in. We have called the states of South Carolina and Kentucky and Indiana for Donald Trump, and the state of Vermont for Kamala Harris. 28 electoral votes for Donald Trump so far, 3 for Vice President Harris, 28-3, a score that any Atlanta Falcons fan does not want to hear tonight on the show. It's very early on, no surprises yet. Trump has a small lead in Virginia at this point, but I do not expect that to hold. All right, the decision desk has just come in with this. Donald Trump has won the state of West Virginia, home of the Mothman, and also my grandfather, but there's no connection there. Donald Trump is up to 32 electoral votes to Kamala Harris's 3 right now. And estimates say there's a 61% chance that Donald Trump wins the election, but it is only 6:34 p.m. Central Standard Time and a lot left to happen. Let's take a live listen into coverage on News Nation.
Whoever gets to 270 electoral college votes first, there you go. 32 for Donald Trump, 3 for Kamala Harris. And if you think about it just in terms of time, as everyone is playing along at home, the fastest way that Donald Trump gets to 270 is Georgia and North Carolina, which have both closed, and then he wins either Pennsylvania or he wins Michigan and Wisconsin, and that's the night. That is his fastest route. Kamala Harris's route is a little more complicated. She's got to take the whole Rust Belt and then take Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, and she gets to 270.
Nebraska's 2nd congressional district? Is that
Nebraska and Maine.
Why?
Because Nebraska and Maine assign their electoral college votes.
There's that single district.
All right, so that is exactly what we told you at the outset of this episode, that if Donald Trump takes North Carolina and Georgia, as well as one of the 3 blue wall states, then he will be the president. A little bit tougher road to hoe for Kamala Harris. 32-3, still in Donald Trump's favor so far. All right, polls set to close in Washington, D.C. and 16 states in the coming minutes. A good turnout so far by all indications from college students, which bodes well for Kamala Harris. And early results are in for the state of Georgia. Donald Trump with an early 57 to 43% lead there, but only 6% of the votes have been tallied. All right, so I've got News Nation on. For entertainment value, if Donald Trump wins, we will go to CNN for their freakout. If Kamala Harris wins, we'll go to Fox News for theirs, but News Nation for right now. I've just had dinner. Dinosaur chicken nuggets and mac and cheese. Shells and cheese. Dinner of champions. Kamala Harris has been projected to win Washington, D.C., Maryland, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, while Donald Trump has taken pretty much the entire SEC, winning Oklahoma, Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. That puts Donald Trump at 105 electoral votes and 31 for Kamala Harris. So far, there are no major surprises. So far, this is shaking out exactly how we anticipated, but none of the swing states have been called yet. Kamala Harris with a giant lead in Michigan, but only 1% of the vote in there. Donald Trump with a 10-point lead in Georgia, with 1/3 of the vote counted. And with 8% of the vote in, Kamala Harris is leading in North Carolina by 6. So at this point, at 7:22 Central Standard Time, Donald Trump is looking very strong in Georgia. It looks like he's going to pull out Georgia, and if he does, then Kamala Harris really needs to do well and win North Carolina. If Donald Trump wins both of those, then she has to have the blue wall. If he gets one of those 3 states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, or Michigan, it will be over. In other news, Florida has voted to reject recreational marijuana. So, yeah. All right, 8:11 p.m. and I have some updates. The first of which is I am enjoying a snack of some gummy sharks. They are delicious. Donald Trump has been projected to win the state of Texas, the state of Wyoming, the state of South Dakota, North Dakota, Louisiana, Ohio, Kansas, while Vice President Harris has been projected to win New York, Illinois, New Hampshire, Virginia. That puts Donald Trump at 194 electoral votes to Kamala Harris's 95 right now. Trump is looking very good in North Carolina and Georgia. He's on track to win those 2 states. However, Vice President Harris is looking very good early on in Pennsylvania. She still has a chance. Right now, by my projections, Donald Trump has a 71% chance to win the presidency. But if Harris pulls out a win in Pennsylvania, she does have a chance, however small. She has a path, and that's all that she needs. That's a state that I had going to Donald Trump by a narrow margin. Right now, she's looking good there. And with just 10% of the vote in Michigan, she also has a 9-point lead there. We'll see what happens when votes come in from Wisconsin. But right now, you have to like where you are if you're Donald Trump. And if you are a Kamala Harris supporter, you're not ready to throw in the towel yet either.
All right, our first big race call of the evening. Decision Desk HQ now projecting that Donald Trump has won North Carolina.
Wow.
That is 16 electoral votes.
Trump wins North Carolina by a 51-47 margin. He gets 16 electoral college votes there. That's a big pickup if you're rooting for Trump. As we've said, if he wins Georgia and North Carolina, that really cuts into her paths to victory. The first swing state has fallen. Donald Trump wins. North Carolina takes a 210-95 lead. Donald Trump is 60 electoral votes away from regaining the White House. And so far here on In the Shed with Wes, we are 1 for 1 in our swing state predictions, because I am a journalist. Let's listen in to News Nation.
Democratic counties that were waiting to come in that could make up the difference, so we haven't called it. On your point about North Carolina, it's interesting because we'll dig into the state here. You see it in red. You're going to see the check mark next to Donald Trump's name after we'd made the call that Trump got it done there. A lot of people thought coming in that maybe North Carolina was the better shot for Harris versus Georgia. Didn't prove to be the case. Just didn't get the margins that she needed to. She needed to really run up the score in the big Democratic areas like a Mecklenburg County, which is Charlotte. See, a little bit short. See, Biden 2020, 66.9, Harris 64.2. Raleigh, Wake County, another big Democratic area. She actually did okay there. We've been looking at some of the red counties that are also in that area. I know Chris has brought up Nash County a lot. That's a good performance there.
So they're showing different counties in North Carolina where Kamala Harris has underperformed in comparison to Joe Biden 4 years ago.
Yep, and right next door, you got a little more working class area with Nash County that Starwell talked about a bunch of times. It's a very nice performance for Trump there. Now, you mentioned, let's back
Trump with a 70% chance to win the state of Georgia, but a lot of votes remaining in Democratic counties.
Harris hopes to do well, and DeKalb County at the bottom there, another place where Harris hopes to do well. I think DeKalb, Chris was saying earlier, that was one of the places they had to extend the voting hours, right?
So Trump's still looking good, but only one swing state has been called. It is 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I'm not really very surprised that Trump pulled out a win in North Carolina. I thought that he would. He and Vance had like 15 events there in the last few weeks. The polling looked good for him, looked strong for him in that state all along. I failed to report earlier that Trump also won Arkansas, and now they're saying that Kamala Harris has won the state of Colorado, so no surprise there. 210 electoral votes for Donald Trump, and Vice President Harris has crossed the triple-digit threshold. She now has 105. We're waiting on some number updates here after the commercial break. But honestly, so far on News Nation, I think they're doing a pretty solid job. Leland Vitter and Chris Cuomo, they're keeping it pretty even keeled. They're reporting on why the numbers look the way that they do. It's not very partisan, but so far no reason to feel any different than excited if you are a Trump supporter. But as I keep saying, it is not over yet by a long shot. I give it a 69% chance right now for Trump, but we're waiting on one of those blue wall states. Just one of those reporting their numbers and giving us a substantial update will tell us a lot. Let's see what we get after the commercial break.
I know early votes tend to skew Republican. The blue wall is still out there, and we are still waiting for results. Tell me how you're feeling, what you're seeing when you see these poll numbers come in.
Look, the polling has long shown that Vice President Harris has more strength in the Rust Belts than in the Sun Belts, and the blue wall for now remains intact. But
this guy does not look like he believes that.
The path to 270 runs through Pennsylvania.
He's right about that, but he looks... He's talking so soft and so slow and deliberate.
She has spent an enormous amount of time in Pennsylvania trying to win over, and there are many different constituencies there. She really went very hard for the Hispanic vote in Pennsylvania.
Harris with a 4-point lead with only 17% of the vote in Wisconsin.
Puerto Ricans in Pennsylvania. You have them in your district as well here in New York.
Yeah, Donald Trump is overperforming among voters of color, particularly Latinos. But at the same time, Vice President Harris could be overperforming among white voters who have historically voted for Republicans. And so the results of the election are defying the conventional wisdom about the relationship between demographics and voting behavior. I feel like race is becoming less predictive of voting behavior.
In Michigan, Kamala Harris leads by about 8 percentage points with 16% of the vote in. So very early, but 2 leads in 2 of the 3 states. In Pennsylvania, she's up 53% to 46% with 29% of the vote in. So far, Kamala Harris is leading in all 3 of the blue wall states. If she wins all 3 of those and Donald Trump wins the rest of the swing states, then she probably beats him 270 to 268, which would be wild. Donald Trump needs to pull out a win in Georgia, and he's got to win one of those 3 Rust Belt states. But if Kamala can do that, she doesn't have a lot of paths left, but if she does that, she's got the inside track. Let's listen for an update on Georgia.
Pennsylvania is one thing we have yet to call Georgia. Yet Eric Erickson, radio talk show host in Atlanta, worked on George Bush's re-election and election campaign. There are a few people who know Georgia better than Eric Erickson does. Eric, help us understand what you're seeing there, where the vote is still out, and what trends we can pick up from.
We're seeing problems with the vote counting machines in Gwinnett County. The Secretary of State's office says Gwinnett County is going to go Democrat. The question is how much. That's one of the reasons that the prognosticators are struggling calling the state. We're seeing suburban areas of Georgia drift towards Harris, but a really dominant performance in rural areas of the state going for Donald Trump. And then in, for example, Baldwin County, Georgia, probably the swingiest county in the state, Trump has won that county. So it definitely looks like the state is trending towards Donald Trump, but suburban women in Georgia and suburban upper income men still don't like him, and they haven't liked him since 2016.
Is suburban women...
That man said they don't like him. I'm from Alabama. I think he sounds country. They don't like him.
Working class, the congressman just called it the diploma divide, moving towards Donald Trump?
Particularly among single women. Married women, it's still close. Married women, particularly white married women, still voting majority Republican. But overall, yeah, there is a divide. The suburban...
So that's very interesting. They're having problems with the voting machines in Gwinnett County in Georgia. A county that certainly will go toward Kamala Harris, but the question is by how much, and that's why they have been unable to call the state one way or the other. Very interesting. Kamala Harris continuing to look very good in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin right now, though we're still early in those 3 races. I will say, though, it looks like she's going to win Michigan. Unless Donald Trump gets a batch of votes that are unexpected, it does look like Kamala Harris will win Michigan, though it's too early to say for sure. 8:52 p.m. Will we have a president tonight? Will we have to wait till 2 in the morning? And I'll eat some more gummy sharks. All right, some more polls have closed. It is 9 o'clock my time here in Alabama. Let's see what has just come in.
And being able to have trustable data. So, let's get after it. Time is upon us here on the East Coast. Welcome to our viewers at News Nation and, of course, at the CW. The polls just closed in 3 states, including, very important, Nevada. We are ready to make a few projections, and for that, we go to Leland.
All right, 16 electoral college votes up for grabs this hour in the presidential race. DDHQ not ready to make a projection for Nevada, and it could be an awfully long time until we get Nevada. In the state of Montana, 4 electoral college votes up for grabs. DDHQ now projecting Donald Trump will win the state of Montana.
No surprise there.
Utah's 6 electoral college votes up for grabs. DDHQ projecting that Donald Trump wins Utah.
No surprise. Trump wins Mormon land. Very ironic.
Decision Desk HQ in the state of Georgia, and that is what's missing right now. And there is a narrative coming from Team Harris that she is doing better in Georgia than Joe Biden did. And that would be the area. Based on some of the exurban and suburban Atlanta counties and doing better specifically with women.
But would that be enough to...
Yeah, but a narrative doesn't matter.
That's the big question.
What matters is, can she win? If she can close the gap and win in Georgia, then she's got a real chance. If not, it is not looking good. Trump wins Montana. Trump wins Utah. So far, everything has gone the way that we thought it would.
Whether she has enough to pull it off, we'll see. I mean, probably
Trump leading 53 to 46 in Georgia right now.
Georgia is still much higher than Harris, a little under 70-30, but that's come down from earlier in the evening. To Leland's point, we could look and kind of analyze some of the counties in and around Atlanta.
I give Trump a 66% chance to win. He's up to 220 electoral votes. He needs just 50 more to be president of the United States. I think I messed up my math earlier. I was doing 260 instead of 270 because I'm a journalist. I've been up since 4:30 this morning. And while we're waiting on more results, let me just tell you something fun. I bought a sword. I did. I bought a sword online. I now own a sword. And if you're wondering what I mean when I keep saying I give Trump a whatever percentage chance to win, I've got a formula that I'm working, and I'm plugging in the numbers and trying to update my percentages. Mine are a little different than what I'm seeing released by the New York Times here on News Nation. Mine is giving Trump a little bit less percentage chance to win right now. And with the blue wall still out there, Nevada, we don't even have numbers from Nevada yet. That polls just closed there. I think 66% is a pretty good place for him to be right now. But we haven't seen any surprises yet either. And there will be some for sure. A lot of talk online comparing this year's election to the election of 4 years ago, saying that this may be a red mirage is the phrase. If you remember 4 years ago, it looked like Trump had it won, and then a big swath of votes came in at 2 and 3 in the morning, and Joe Biden was president. This is not that. Those were early voting votes in states where they could not count them until after the polls closed, and they broke for Biden in a major way. That doesn't seem to be happening this time. Like I have said, there is still a path for Kamala Harris. This is far from over, but comparing it to the election of 4 years ago, it is not that. Donald Trump has now been projected to win Iowa. I thought that he would win Iowa. I did not believe the report and the polling that came out a few days ago on Sunday that puts him 6 electoral votes closer, 44 votes from the presidency. But I'm telling you, until we get some major numbers from Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, or Michigan, Kamala Harris has every bit of a chance to win. If she wins those 3 states, she is the president. Donald Trump has won every state he's supposed to so far, but there's been no surprises, and he's going to have to win one of those 3. He just pulled ahead in Pennsylvania, got a new tranche of votes there, but he's ahead 50 to 49 with about half of the votes in. So we have a long night ahead of us. We still cannot really project much of anything as far as the results. Iowa is helpful, but Harris is still in this for sure. And she's still looking good in those 3 states. I'm just telling you, if you are a Donald Trump supporter, it is way too early to be celebrating. He has not secured this by a long shot yet. I still give him a 64% chance. I know that's crazy. He won Iowa, but the percentages went down just a little bit. But he does not have this sewed up just yet. Donald Trump is now pulled even in Wisconsin, and News Nation is giving him a 55% chance to win the state of Pennsylvania. If he does that, then he will win the presidency. Still have a lot of votes to come in. Nothing is decided yet. Let's listen into what News Nation is saying.
Means question of what kind of margin could Kamala Harris walk out of Philadelphia County with? What's the word?
My best guess in Philadelphia County margin right now, probably 4, maybe 5. We'll see where it ends up. It's a little bit early. Pennsylvania, in the completed counties that we do have, which is mostly out west, Donald Trump is hitting his vote goals. I got to see a whole lot more out of Philadelphia County, Delco, Lancaster, Montgomery. Pennsylvania is too close.
So very close in Pennsylvania, very close in Wisconsin. Harris still looking good in Michigan, and we're still waiting on Georgia to get things sorted out. Like an hour and a half ago, Brad Raffensperger came on, the official from Georgia, saying that they were setting state records and counting the vote, and they have wet the bed. Need a decision from Georgia. Kamala Harris has closed the gap in Georgia a little bit. Trump still has a lead there. 82% of the vote is in, but they have not called it for Trump because it looks like about 65% of the votes that still have to come in are from Democrat-heavy areas. Will she run up a big enough margin there to pull the first surprise and to win Georgia? It would be incredibly helpful for her. It would keep some different paths of victory open. Also, Vice President Harris leads in Arizona right now by a slim margin with just a little bit of the vote in there.
I'm going to interrupt you guys for 1 second. We do have a major race call to announce Decision Desk HQ. This is what we have been waiting for. Can now project that former President Donald Trump will win Georgia. That is the second of the 7 battleground states.
So Donald Trump wins Georgia by a 3% margin. That gives him 242 electoral votes and increases his percentages of winning by a lot. By my math, he now goes to a 69% chance to win. With 242 electoral votes to Kamala Harris's 109. But Trump still needs to win, and with almost all the vote in Wisconsin, it looks like Harris might get a narrow win there. She's still leading in Michigan by what appears that will be enough. Donald Trump really needs to win Pennsylvania. If he does, he wins. If not, it's still up for grabs, but I have him at 69% chance of winning right now at 9:35 p.m. Central Standard Time. So right now, according to my math, a 69% chance that Donald Trump wins, but I'm just saying, I'm sitting here looking at these states. There's a lot left out there for Harris. A lot left out there for Harris. And even though Trump has more paths, he's got to win Pennsylvania. If he does not win Pennsylvania, Harris might catch up pretty quick. Her chances would increase dramatically. Pennsylvania is a must-win for both candidates, just as we knew that it would be entering tonight. So far, if you're keeping track, we are 2 for 2 on swing state predictions that Georgia and North Carolina both go to Trump, and we're still waiting on a surprise. It's going to take one to win. You ever watch a football game and a running back or a wide receiver is running into the end zone and drops the ball at the 1-yard line? That is still on the table in this race. If Kamala Harris runs the table, which is still possible, she is the president. All right, more votes have come in, and Trump has a very, very, very slim lead in both Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. And that means nervousness and anxiety for Kamala Harris, her supporters, her constituents, her team. She's got to win both of those. She has to win both of those outright. Right now, Donald Trump has a slight lead. Pennsylvania, a little bit more than 50% of the vote in. Wisconsin, almost 50% in. Stay tuned. Let's check in live with News Nation.
All right, here we are at the News Nation's headquarters in New York, watching the results come in for Harris and Walz, it is waiting on the blue wall. Can they hold? Or, we know what the alternative is. Sean Spicer, News Nation political contributor. As you watch this election, how does it compare and contrast with 2020 and 2016 for you?
Great question. In 2016, we felt good, but everyone told us we were going to lose. We looked at the New York Times, everyone else, they said, you can't pull this out. So we felt exuberant when we ultimately won, but it was a mix of feelings. The juxtaposition going into today was the data looked really good coming out of the early vote, but we kept hearing that, she was surging and Trump wasn't doing as well. So it was almost a flip of the dynamic, but as we continue to see the results come in, Chris, I feel amazing. The folks that I'm talking to at Trump headquarters down in Mar-a-Lago feel great. Everybody's still a little cautious, but everything's headed in the right direction.
But how, compared to 2020, Sean, when in 2020 you guys were all celebrating at this time too, and then a couple of hours later.
No, actually that's not. No,
That's Elizabeth Vargas.
When I was checking in with the team at that time, people were sort of buying time. Hey, we're down, but this is what's still out. And that's a very different dynamic. There was a sense of...
Trump now up by 2 percentage points in Pennsylvania with 61% of the vote in. Harris still with the big lead in Michigan, less than 30% of the vote in there.
The initial view when we saw results both in Broward County and North Carolina...
Yeah.
In 2016, we were overperforming and Hillary Clinton was underperforming.
Trump has caught up with Harris in Arizona. It's a virtual tie with 54% of the vote in.
That's not a good vibe.
Hey, Sean, I want to get your reaction to the fact that, even in the state, we were just talking about this during the commercial break, in Virginia, which Trump will not win, but he's overperforming by 10 points from how he did in that state.
And I told you Virginia would be closer than what they were saying.
New York City,
although I had it going to Harris.
Big Democratic stronghold. Harris only got 68% of the vote in New York City, which is astounding.
Trump got 32% of the vote in New York City. Wow.
Yeah, I'll do you one better. In Rhode Island, where I grew up, very blue, Kamala Harris, 53%. That had been a 60% state. In New Jersey, well underperforming. We're seeing this over and over again. The trend is not good for them. There's no bright spot for them. That's a problem, right? You look, New Jersey, Rhode Island, you pointed out New York City, Virginia, Loudoun County, up in that top part of Virginia, just...
So Trump overperforming even in places that Kamala Harris has won. He has a lead in Pennsylvania, a lead in Wisconsin. He's behind in Michigan. It's tied in Arizona. And my formula now gives Donald Trump a 73% chance to be the next president. More polls close in the next 4 minutes. And we'll get an update on some more votes there. 9:57 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're getting closer and closer to being able to tell who is our next president following Joseph Robinette Biden. The R stands for Robinette. At least right now, until we get results in from Wisconsin or Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris still has an opportunity to win. She could still pull this thing out, but rather than 2020, if I'm being honest, this reminds me more of 2016. When America watched in disbelief as Hillary Clinton did not pull out any of the states that she had to in order to win, and Donald Trump became president. It's starting to trend in that direction. My algorithm is now up to 75% chance that Donald Trump wins. Waiting for this next batch of votes to come in, and we will update you then. 10 o'clock p.m., more results in. Let's see what we have.
In real time. All right, it is now 11 p.m. on the East Coast. Welcome to our News Nation viewers, and those of you, of course, joining us on the CW. It's good to have you, fam. Polls just closed in 4 more states. Leland, what is the state of play?
All right, 78 Electoral College votes up for grabs. This race in the presidential race, although there's still a lot of undecided Electoral College votes. In the state of California, 54 Electoral College votes. Decision Desk HQ projecting Kamala Harris will win her home state of California. Idaho, there are 4 electoral college votes up for grabs. DDHQ now projecting that Donald Trump will win the state of Idaho. No surprise there. We will put up the electoral count. And important to point out to our viewers at home, Donald Trump's electoral count right now at 246 to 162 includes North Carolina and Georgia. Decision Desk HQ is the only organization that is projecting now Donald Trump winning North Carolina and winning Georgia. That means Kamala Harris must hold the blue wall fully. If she loses Pennsylvania or if she loses Michigan and Wisconsin, that is the ball game. And to be fair, for all of the discussion of how late things were going to go, the fact that we got North Carolina, we got Georgia, they went the same way early in the night. Bernie Marie.
All right, so 246 for Trump to 162 for Harris. No surprise that Kamala Harris wins California. No surprise that Donald Trump wins Idaho. Still waiting on someone to win a state that they were not predicted to win. An interesting factoid, I've been watching News Nation. They're the only ones that have called North Carolina and Georgia so far. I was not aware of that. It looks like it's a safe call and a safe bet, but would be interesting if they had to make a retraction. I'm not sure that I have seen that. A lot of times people race to be first. I would rather be correct. Let's check in.
Not to be repetitive, but it all comes down to this time in the night when Harris has to start winning the big states because she can really only make one more mistake in terms of losing a state and still winning this election. I was looking at Wisconsin right now. Just as we started to your point, we're starting to get real numbers in now and get a sense of how they're going. And her margin of error is pretty much zilch. And the early numbers, or the numbers we have now, show that Harris still has some ground to make up. Like Milwaukee suburbs, for example. I'll take you inside. We'll come back and swing it around up to the map and look at Wisconsin for a moment. And a couple things have happened here. So we've gone like 60-40 or a little bit more on our win probability towards Trump, and it looks like one of the reasons for that. The
Trump with a 58% chance to win Wisconsin. Kamala Harris a 56% chance to win Michigan.
Whether the Democrats can make up the ground there becomes the story. Now these wow counties that are around Milwaukee, WOW, and the first one there we'll bring up is Waukesha County. So all right, so Waukesha is right to the west there of Milwaukee. You see where some of the numbers are here, but better to show where they were then, 2020. And Trump is 58-3, 59-8. Harris actually just came up a little bit in the last. Actually, they just went to 90%. This was a little bit of an improvement just in the last 5 minutes, literally, for Harris in Waukesha County. So let me check the second.
Harris making small gains in Wisconsin.
Which you guys talked about earlier. This Trump is still outpacing here. They're only at 60% and 56.5, 55.4, and the third one is Washington. And Washington, Trump's outpacing.
Trump making small gains in Michigan.
I was about to tell you guys that Trump was ahead of his previous numbers on all three. It's 2 out of 3 now. That shows you how things can quickly change as the numbers come in. And I might as well, just while I'm at it, show you guys Pennsylvania to see if there's anything. One thing we noticed in Pennsylvania just a minute ago we thought was interesting. See, it's about 60-40 Trump. Was a county we don't talk about a lot, but
Trump with a 60% chance of winning Pennsylvania.
I mentioned Lafayette College. There was UPenn in Philly. Center County.
Time is running out for the vice president.
Right? And this is a so far at least a very good night there. 74% in for Donald Trump. Look at this, 52 Biden, 47 Trump, 53 Trump.
In Pennsylvania in key places, Trump is overperforming his performance in 2020. Harris is underperforming what Biden did in that election.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same, right? 2020 versus.
So that's a little bit of an update from Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Not looking good for the vice president. Donald Trump still in position to win Pennsylvania. If he does, it might be lights out. He's also in position to win Wisconsin. If he wins either of those states, Kamala Harris is in deep trouble. What did I say earlier about Wisconsin? Did I say at one point during this broadcast that 99% of the vote was in? That's when I was eating gummy sharks. I don't know where I got that. Pretend I didn't say that.
Kamala Harris wins Connecticut. A shocking turn of events.
Shocking.
Kamala Harris wins Connecticut. Congratulations on that, I guess.
A update on the key races of the night. Decision Desk HQ projecting that Donald Trump will win Georgia's 16 electoral college votes. That is huge. That was one of 2 states in the Sun Belt that Trump needed to start having a good night. Donald Trump, DDHQ projecting Donald Trump will also win North Carolina's 16 electoral
Yeah, you already told us that.
votes. And now we go through the Rust Belt, the Blue Wall, the Upper Midwest, whatever you want to call it. Pennsylvania, 19 electoral college votes. Again, too close to call. Right now, Donald Trump
Up 51 to 48 in Pennsylvania, with 74% of the vote in. Too close to call there. Kamala Harris can still pull that one out. In Michigan, Kamala Harris up 51 to 48 over Trump with 34% in. They are counting very slowly in Michigan. And in Wisconsin, Trump is up 50 to 48 with 66% of the vote in there. Kamala Harris could still win Pennsylvania. If she can win Pennsylvania, she's going to win Michigan. It looks like Wisconsin would be a tipping point. Trump's still in the lead in Pennsylvania, still in the lead in Wisconsin.
You're seeing just this enormous focus, and there's counties, a few counties, as Connell pointed out, Donald Trump is outperforming. He's not outperforming.
Will Kamala Harris run a big enough number in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and surrounding areas to I guess now upset Trump in
She wins
Pennsylvania?
If he wins Michigan or Wisconsin, again, it is all but over because she would have to win Nevada and Arizona. So, is that possible? Yes.
It's possible, but it's not likely, Christopher. Trump with now a 76% chance to win, according to my algorithm. 39% of the vote in Michigan, and Trump has taken a small lead in that state. 70% of the vote in Pennsylvania. Trump has a lead there. He still leads in Wisconsin as well. He's got to win one of those 3. If Harris wins all 3 of those, she is the president. But a 75% chance still that Donald Trump wins this race, according to my math. Harris did win Oregon and pick up a victory there. She's up to 177 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 246 at 10:35 p.m. As expected, Kamala Harris has won the state of Washington, picking up some more electoral votes there. She's at 189 now to Donald Trump's 246. Donald Trump still with a 76% chance of becoming our next president.
By the way, we're getting reports that people are now leaving the Harris rally. So I don't know if she's going to speak, but reports are that folks are heading to the exits. It is nearly midnight on the East Coast. Still a big crowd there, but...
All right, Decision Desk HQ projecting Harris wins New Jersey. No big surprise there, but you guys were talking about the
Harris wins New Jersey. A lot closer than you would have thought. 51.5 to 46.6.
I'm not from up here. Your mouth is wide.
That's somewhat surprising.
Yeah. I'm surprised by that margin, I gotta say. I was shocked by the New York City vote margin. I really did find it.
It's interesting that
what was the New York City number? She
68%
won.
of the
That's
vote.
the lowest since '88. And what's fascinating right now to watch, that's New Jersey, only a 5-point margin. If we can put back up Pennsylvania or Michigan, is that Donald Trump is doing a lot better in non-swing states relative to his 2020 performance, Florida, Virginia, than he's doing in the swing states relative to his 2020
So what are we
performance.
Biden was 57-41 in Jersey, for point of comparison.
So what's that?
Okay.
That's making up 10 points.
Donald Trump up 51 to 48 in Pennsylvania with 80% of the vote in.
2 points in Georgia.
Yeah.
So there's
what does that data point mean for our audience?
I think it's a fascinating question, and
Harris just took a large lead in Michigan with a lot of Democratic votes coming in there.
Than in some of these other states, the New Jerseys, the Virginia.
How much attention they got, what the pitch was.
A lot of Republican votes left to be tallied.
To the point of overperformance, here's an interesting metric, okay? Michigan, Detroit, okay? Democrat stronghold, all right? Hillary Clinton gets 90%, 93%, loses. Biden
Loses Michigan or loses
both.
Yeah, the race at Michigan.
Biden 95% wins. So the margins.
They're showing people dancing at the
That's why the polling
Trump headquarters right now. After reports that people were leaving the Harris campaign headquarters.
That's why the theory of the case, which I don't believe.
Okay, now they're showing equal time. Now they're showing people dancing at the Harris headquarters. So
in quotes, right? Because it's
can't make very much of that.
Biden and she took over. Even though the incumbent usually wins a second term, unless. And in this situation, Harris has a tougher job. She is against a grievance movement of the status quo and a man who is a charismatic figure with a cultish following.
247 to 204. Trump's lead has shrank significantly as far as the Electoral College. We knew that would happen when results from out west started coming in, and we're waiting on Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan to count. Is what we're waiting on them to count.
I don't say that media writ large. We didn't do that.
No, I'm not saying we didn't writ large, but
We're media writ small.
Okay, well,
there was an enormous amount of fawning over Kamala Harris when she took over. Fine, but
Harris wins Maine 1. Trump wins Maine 2.
There we go. No surprise there. But I think I don't think she had nearly the difficult job people said she did. She just was unable to connect to voters. She was unable to get people in rural America or traditional America to think that she cared about people like them and she understood people like them.
Well, we don't know the outcome of these states, right?
No.
And this will determine the race.
247 to 204 is the count. A 77% chance that Donald Trump wins, according to my math. Trump still leads in Michigan and in Pennsylvania. But some more votes just came in Wisconsin, and he has taken a large lead in Wisconsin with 84% of the votes in. I'm waiting for them to break in and talk about that. When they do, we'll go to that live, closing in on 11 p.m. If he wins Wisconsin, it is all over but the crying. Let's see what happens. One interesting thing is that my algorithm is still giving Kamala Harris a much bigger chance at winning than the others that I'm seeing. News Nation is in the 80 percentile now, beyond 80% that Donald Trump wins. I'm still at 79%. Something to keep an eye on there.
Nick Smith is live in Milwaukee. Nick, give us the update there.
Elizabeth, I'll make this very quick. We are keeping our eyes on the machine because election officials have told us about a mistake that they discovered earlier. It looks like one of the doors was open, one of the seals was there, had come loose, but they did not believe the machine was compromised. However, they chose to recount all of the ballots that they had started to count earlier in the day. So, Elizabeth, right now I can tell you that more than 108,000 ballots have been received. They are in the process of counting those, and because of that delay, it will take us early until tomorrow morning to find out exactly how Wisconsin will settle out. Back to you.
Wow. So there has been a mistake made with a machine in Wisconsin. They're recounting 108,000 votes. And now they're saying we won't get a final result from Wisconsin till early tomorrow morning. And that's not good. You want the numbers to be correct. Obviously, if there's a mistake made, you have to correct it. But these are the kinds of things that cannot happen and that lead to people running off at the mouth with all kinds of conspiracy theories. It's not a good look. This is very interesting to watch. We'll see if anything changes when they recount there in Wisconsin.
Republican Senate.
Yeah. What the margin? Nice margin. If we can put up the Michigan numbers, there's only 40% of Michigan's voted, which the idea that you only have 40% counted at midnight is atrocious in and of itself.
Although they did tell us to expect that.
Well, just because I tell you to expect bad customer service doesn't make it okay. That said, 49%.
That's a good point.
I just heard from a very, very senior Democrat, long-time elected official in Denver, in Michigan. I'm getting tired. But this is somebody who knows Michigan politics inside and out, whose name's synonymous with Michigan. I asked him, what in golf, for a golf shot, is it like for Kamala Harris to win Michigan? This morning he told me it was an 8-foot putt, which is 50-50. He just told me that's now a 30-foot putt. Wow. For Kamala Harris to
No
win
kidding.
Michigan. Now here's the guy.
If she doesn't, what is the math?
If she does not win Michigan, she can still win Pennsylvania, but then she has to win Nevada and Arizona. Both. So it gets very, very, very thin.
Trump is ahead in Michigan by just a little bit. Only 40% of the votes counted.
Than Pennsylvania. And if Kamala Harris loses Pennsylvania, Donald Trump's at 270, we all go home. Steyerwalt's with us. Chris, do you agree with the 30-foot putt assessment for Kamala Harris in Michigan at this point?
Oh, I would on a 30-foot putt. You'd have to give it to me. I wouldn't even try. Actually, you know what I'd do if I was playing golf with you? I'd say just give me 2 from here, and we'll call it good.
Great joke, Steyerwalt. Great joke.
Pennsylvania is where it's at, and we're getting a ton of vote in
All right,
Pennsylvania. Now,
getting votes in Pennsylvania.
we're starting to see the numbers.
Let's see what happens.
And basically, America, the way you can think about it right now is Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Detroit, and Milwaukee are what stand between Donald Trump and being the first person since Grover Cleveland to return to the White House in non-consecutive terms. Her position is, I would not currently describe it as dire.
Trump up by 2% in Pennsylvania with 82.7% of the vote in.
Volume that Joe Biden did in those cities. And so this remains a very nerve-wracking moment for Democrats.
Wow, he just said, did you hear that? He just said that Harris will have to do better in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh than Biden did in order to beat Trump in Pennsylvania. That's really saying something.
But that is exactly what it is. And every minute that goes by, you're getting more vote in, counting more vote, and we get closer and closer to the answer.
Trump has held on to that 2% lead in Pennsylvania.
Let's go to what we do know and see if we can explain it.
Wisconsin is a mess.
Take control of the Senate.
The GOP has taken control of the Senate.
Really good map to begin with. That's number one. Number two, they avoided picking weirdos, or mostly avoided picking weirdos. The Republicans.
Interesting analysis.
Think about Mitch McConnell.
Chris Steyerwalt's actually pretty good at this. Very level-headed, at least in his breakdown. He's not very partisan, and neither am I, because I am a journalist. Harris projected to win Hawaii.
Weird candidates or had weird backgrounds talk like normies, right? They spoke, people like Carrie Lake. I had Carrie Lake on my Sunday show. She sounded like national
Republicans took the Senate with a 8-point advantage in the balance of power there.
So part of it is good math. Part of it
and it's even a bigger advantage for them than I anticipated, I will say.
Having them not be running wild and free.
We're at about 54 minutes of this podcast in, several hours recording it, but only 50 minutes of recorded coverage. It's 15 minutes after 11 o'clock at night.
Are we talking about 53? Are we talking about 54? What are we talking about here? And that's where, if you're a Democrat, it becomes
still looks like Donald Trump. This is his race to lose. Harris does have a pathway. We're not going to know about Wisconsin for a couple more hours at least. Now they're catching up with me saying that Harris just won Hawaii. I just told them that. I just told my people that. I'm ahead of you, News Nation. Harris wins New Mexico, as expected.
Donald Trump had wanted to play in.
That rally where he said, I think I'm going to win New Mexico.
Didn't he say I would have won New Mexico in 2020 if it'd been fair or something?
He said he won it. He did.
Leland Vitter rolled his eyes at Trump saying that. He likes Trump. That's funny.
And this is something that I'm very curious about, and we'll need a long time with the data to figure
News
out.
Nation is saying there's a 90% chance that Donald Trump wins the election. My math is still at 79.4%. So I'm a bit behind. I'm waiting on that blue wall. We don't have enough information there. They're banking on him winning either Wisconsin and Michigan or Pennsylvania, but I'm waiting on some more numbers to come in.
At the beginning of this century and into the first decade,
50% of the vote now in Michigan, Trump holding on to a 2-point lead there.
it was very often black voters, particularly black men. It was very often Hispanic communities. We can think back to Proposition 8 in California, other referenda on the ballot across the country, where you would see minorities form a coalition with Republicans.
Trump has been stuck at 247 electoral votes for quite a while.
And I wonder if the long strain of cultural conservatism in some of those communities
He's waiting on Alaska,
makes it harder for them to vote for a woman to be president.
Arizona, Nevada. I haven't seen any results from Nevada.
But I wonder if in those communities particularly, we're seeing the cultural conservative traditionalism assert itself.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll obviously know a lot more. And I'll be really curious when we do break down the Hispanic vote in all these different states, because as we've been saying all night long, it's not a monolith.
She says it's not a monolith, but she just said we want to break down the Hispanic vote.
I'll be really curious what the data shows, especially in those.
Not the Mexican American vote, the Puerto Rican vote, the Guatemalan American vote, just at the Hispanic.
Working class, fewer college-educated people overall as a population, whereas in Arizona, more highly educated. We've talked about the diploma divide.
Sorry for all the noises of me shifting in my chair. The acoustics are not quite as good or as clear here in my living room as in my shed. But hey, we're having fun together.
Now in the Senate, and no matter who is in the White House, it's really something.
It's funny to think about how we think of sizable majorities. We used to think about
Harris did win New Hampshire by more than I anticipated. I will say that.
Would it be filibuster proof or not? Would they get to 60 or not? Now, 53 sounds like a big majority. It sounds like a big majority if you don't have to have your vice
247 to 213 is the count. And honestly, I'm just surprised that neither Trump or Harris have even made an appearance or made a statement yet. For Trump, that shows some restraint because with numbers like this, I'm kind of surprised he hasn't declared victory already. I would think Harris would come out and let her people know that there's still a chance and a path forward. Neither have done that yet. We're at 11:30 now. I thought coming into the night that we would have a president declared by 1 o'clock a.m. my time. We'll see if that happens.
What's the latest there?
An update from Detroit.
Well, Kira, the information is just trickling in. We just spoke with the Secretary of State here who explained why the information is coming in late. Here in Detroit, the tabulations have been done, but the county, Wayne County, has yet to upload those results. But Wayne County is really a microcosm of some of the trouble, some of the cracks, if you will, in the blue wall here in Michigan. One of them
If the tabulation is done, why have they not uploaded the results? That's odd to me.
And there are many other
Trump has opened up a 5-point lead in Michigan.
All right, we'll continue to check in with you, Juju. I'm Kira Phillips. Stay
Trump
with
has
ABC.
won Nebraska
After
2.
the night, we have all your election news here in 2024.
And Harris has a substantial lead in Minnesota. In winning Nebraska 1, Trump has finally moved past 247. He's now at 248 electoral votes to Kamala Harris's 213. And ABC News and others are far behind. They have not made some of the projections that News Nation has, but everything that I've seen so far seems accurate to me. We're still waiting on more results from Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Haven't seen very much out of Arizona and Nevada. I'll look for updates there. Last I saw, Trump still maintains his lead both in Michigan and in Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin is trying to get their act together and pull their head out of their cheese. I just realized I've been up for 19 hours straight. I've got to go to work tomorrow. I'm not drinking coffee right now. I'm not trying to pull an all-nighter. If Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Michigan could count, I would sure appreciate it. All right, they're coming back from commercial now. Let's see if there are any updates.
Welcome back. Here we go. Harris headquarters, where you might say that
Trump expected to speak in Florida. Interesting.
Right now, just to set up everybody for where we're at.
I bet he comes out and says that he has won, even though it is far from over. An 82% chance that he wins, according to my math right now.
The scene here for where we're at. Kamala Harris has to have a perfect night from here on out, and to use a football analogy, come back in the way the Patriots did in that Super Bowl.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Right now in Pennsylvania, she is behind. She is behind in Michigan, and she is behind in Wisconsin.
Although we don't know about Wisconsin.
All three of those states.
Trump's still up by a little over 2% in Pennsylvania with 86% of the vote in. He's up by 4% in Michigan with 62% of the vote in.
Pennsylvania right now, not only is Donald Trump leading, but we have 86% of the vote in.
Wow.
So, a very sizable chunk of the vote is in.
Yep.
She would have to do some dramatic.
Wisconsin frozen at 84% of the vote still.
Finding votes someplace in order to turn that around. And as you pointed out, if he wins Pennsylvania.
If he wins Pennsylvania, so the way the math works is it is the race to 270.
Someone is coming up to the stage to speak at the Vice President's headquarters.
Good evening, HU.
Cedric Richmond, campaign co-chair.
The Harris campaign, the campaign family, thank you for all that you have done. Thank you for being here.
Ooh, his voice just cracked.
Thank you for believing in the promise of America. We still have votes to count. We still have states that have not been called yet.
Factual.
We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice has spoken. So you won't hear from the Vice President tonight, but you will hear from her tomorrow. She will be back here tomorrow to address not only the HU family,
interesting choice,
their supporters, but to address the nation. So thank you. We believe in you.
That's the whole thing.
May God bless you. May God keep you. And go HU and go Harris. Thank you all.
He did not give very much applause.
Now, we have our first chance to judge tonight other than the votes. I think Harris should have come out and said what you just heard.
I agree.
Sounds like hardly anybody was there.
I agree. Not a good look for the Vice President, not even to make a statement. Not to thank her people, rally the troops. She's holding out to see if she loses or not. If she loses, she'll come out and concede in the morning, I guess. That's surprising to me.
Say what you feel you need to say to your people at that time based on whatever you think. But, there's one number one, and you're at the top of the ticket, and you lead the team, and I would have expected her to come out and do it. That was a very weak showing, but they're having a weak night.
And I agree with that. I agree with Chris Cuomo. She's the Vice President of the United States. She's running for the highest office in the land, the leader of the free world. You're in a tough spot, but you got to come out and talk to your people. You got to show them your face. I would have expected that from her, and we did not see it. It is now midnight here in Alabama, and the votes are coming in at a snail's pace. really has slowed down big time in Pennsylvania, where there is 88% of the vote in, but it is just trickling in. It said that there will be an update soon on vote counting in Pennsylvania. I don't know what that means. But right now, Trump has the lead in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And we'll see if it holds. 90% of the vote in now in Pennsylvania, and Trump's lead has increased to over 3%, 51.2 to 47.9. If Trump wins Pennsylvania and Alaska hits 270. All right, breaking news. Donald Trump is now projected to win Alaska. That puts him at 251 electoral votes, meaning if he does close it out in Pennsylvania, he will reach 270. Oh, now they're coming in. How am I breaking news? How am I breaking news ahead of you? I just told my people that. I'm breaking news ahead of you at 12:10 in the morning. 251 to 213 now. Donald Trump is a Pennsylvania call away from winning the presidency. Now up to 85% chance that Donald Trump wins. My math is still far below that of others that I'm seeing. There's still a chance in Pennsylvania for Kamala, a very small one. There's a couple of counties left with a few 100,000 votes. If she wins an overwhelming majority of those, maybe she can make this up. But there's 91% of the vote in, and he's up by 3.4%. That percentage has held every time there's been more votes come in. We're very close to this thing being called.
I can't help but think right now, and I'm sure we have the live shot available, but of Joe Biden. And if we put the live shot up, I wonder if the lights, if you look at the White House north to south, the lights for the president's residence, his private quarters, are on the second floor on the left. And I'd love to know, if you look all the way out there, if the lights are still on.
Oh, he's not awake.
Yeah. They look like they're dark.
He's not awake.
He should be in bed.
Jill's awake. Jill's watching.
In a weird way,
No, he's not awake.
Vindication for him. He was pushed out. He didn't want to pick Kamala Harris in 2020. He was forced to. He was forced out of the race. And now, if Kamala Harris loses, is this vindication for him?
I don't think anybody could have watched that debate performance and thought, oh, he'll be okay for another 4 years.
91% of the vote in now in both Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, and Trump has a healthy 3-point advantage in each state. We're waiting on Donald Trump to come out and speak. We're waiting on a tranche of votes to come in that will show what probably will be the deciding factor, especially Pennsylvania.
It is just after 1:22 in the morning Eastern Time, and this is the biggest call of the night. Decision Desk HQ can now project that former President Donald Trump will be our next president, 47th president of the United States.
Wow.
DDHQ projects Trump will win the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
So there it is. Pennsylvania has now been called with 91% of the vote in, and he's got a 51.2 to 47.8% lead. That takes him to the number of 270 to Kamala Harris's 213.
It's never been done this way. What is the significance?
Well, the significance is that Donald Trump has done what, as you say, only Grover Cleveland, a very different cat, very different kind of cat than Donald Trump, did this before. We have another one-term presidency, so now we're on to what will be necessarily a third.
Donald Trump and Grover Cleveland, the only U.S. presidents to be in office, lose an election, come back and win
which is not something
again.
that happens very often in American history. It is a turbulent period, obviously, in American history, where we have these narrow majorities back and forth. So let's say with Pennsylvania in his creel, and he gets everything else. His best case scenario for tonight, looks like about 313 electoral votes is where he ends up, which is better, six better than he did the first time, but again, narrow, right? Then we're still narrow in terms of how big this mandate is. And I want to congratulate Republicans, and they should take this moment to celebrate. They should feel very good about what they did. But then, 10 seconds after that, Republicans should look at the other side of the ledger and remember this is not a blowout. This is not a big win. It's bigger than they thought. And they should remember that as they're celebrating, Democrats are mourning.
Kind of feels like a blowout when all the experts were saying it would be so close.
I thought it was so good and so correct, which is this is a moment for patriotic race for Republicans. Take the win, enjoy today, enjoy tomorrow, live it up. But then think about how you felt if you're a Republican. Think about how you felt 4 years ago.
And I'm neither,
How
so
you felt this week 4 years ago, how painful that was for you. And if you have empathy for Democrats who are going through what you went through 4 years ago, treat them like people, treat them like your fellow citizens before you treat them like partisans on the losing side. That's the kind of patriotic race that we're going to need to try to bring this country together.
that's certainly true. I don't know how likely that is. I hope that is what happens. I've said on this show a million times, we need both the left wing and the right wing for this beautiful bald eagle to soar. We're countrymen first. You can be friends with people. You can be family to people and have different political opinions, okay? We're waiting for Donald Trump to come out and speak, but he has just been reelected as the President of the United States, the 47th President, the same as the 45th, defeating Kamala Harris so far with 270 electoral votes to 213.
Oh, so Decision Desk HQ now projecting that Donald Trump has won Wisconsin.
Trump has won Wisconsin as well. We're waiting on him to speak, but he has won another of the swing states. And here comes Donald Trump, the next president of the United States, walking out on the stage with his wife Melania, his son Barron, Eric Jr., and Don Jr. all there with him.
This is fascinating who's on stage.
It looks like Dana White, the UFC head.
There's Jared.
Ivanka and Jared Kushner are there. 1:26 in the morning. His granddaughter Kai appears to be on stage. J.D. Vance and his wife. J.D. Vance does not know where to stand. He keeps shuffling down further and further down the line. People are still coming out on stage. A lot of people. Trump may let this entire song play before he says anything. This guy in the corner of the stage who looks like my brother-in-law Russell. I don't think it's him. J.D. Vance is realizing that he is now the vice president.
Thank you very much, Bob. much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends in this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country, and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. Help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. We made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what had happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. And in addition to having won the battleground states of North Carolina, I love these places. Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. We are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes. But it's much easier doing what the networks did or whoever called it, because there was no other path. There was no other path to victory. We also have won the popular vote. That was great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Winning the popular vote was very nice, I will tell you. It's a great feeling of love. We have a great feeling of love in this very large room with unbelievable people standing by my side. These people have been incredible. They made the journey with me, and we're going to make you very happy. We're going to make you very proud of your vote. I hope that you're going to be looking back someday and say that was one of the truly important moments of my life when I voted for this group of people beyond the president, this group of great people. America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's good. And the Senate races in Montana, Nevada, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, were all won by the MAGA movement. They helped so much. And in those cases, every one of them, we worked with the senators. They were tough races, and I mean, the number of victories in the Senate was absolutely incredible. And we did tele-rallies with each one of them, and
Sometimes we did 2 or 3 and it was amazing to look at all of those victories. Nobody expected that, nobody. So I just wanted to thank you very much for that. And you have some great senators and some great new senators. And it also looks like we'll be keeping control of the House of Representatives. And I want to thank Mike Johnson. I think he's doing a terrific job. Terrific job. I want to also thank my beautiful wife, Melania, First Lady. Who has the #1 best-selling book in the country, can you believe it? No, she's done a great job, works very hard to help people. So I just want to thank her, but I want to thank my whole family, my amazing children, and they are amazing children. And we all think our children are. Everybody here thinks their children are amazing, but that's a good thing when you think they are. But Don, Eric, Ivanka, Tiffany, Barron, there's Laura, Jared, Kimberly, Michael, thank you all. What a help. My father-in-law, Victor, is tremendous, and we miss very much Melania's mother, Amalia. We miss Amalia, don't we, huh? She would be very happy right now, standing on this stage. She'd be so proud. She was a great woman, that one. Beautiful inside and out. She was a great woman. I want to be the first to congratulate our great, now I can say, Vice President-elect of the United States, J.D. Vance. And his absolutely remarkable and beautiful wife, Usha Vance. And he's a feisty guy, isn't he? You know, I've said, go into the enemy camp, and you know the enemy camp is certain networks, and a lot of people don't like to, sir, do I have to do that? He just goes, okay, which one, CNN, MSDNC? He'll say, all right, thank you very much. He actually looks like, he's like the only guy I've ever seen, he really looks forward to it, and then he just goes and absolutely obliterates that. Say a couple of words.
Pull out. Well, Mr. President, I appreciate you allowing me to join you on this incredible journey. I thank you for the trust that you placed in me. And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America. And under President Trump's leadership, we're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children. And after the greatest political comeback in American history, we're going to lead the greatest economic comeback in American history under Donald Trump's leadership.
Thank you very much. He's turned out to be a good choice. I took a little heat at the beginning, but he was, I knew the brain was a good one, about as good as it gets. And we love the family, and we're going to have a great 4 years, and we're going to turn our country around, make it something very special. Lost that little thing called special. We have to make it so. We're going to make this so great. It's the greatest country and potentially the greatest country in the world by far. And right now we're going to just work very hard to get all of that back. We're going to make it the best it's ever been. We can do that. If we had to wait longer, I don't know. It was going bad, and it was going bad fast. We're going to have to seal up those borders, and we're going to have to let people come into our country. We want people to come back in, but we have to let them come back in, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in legally. Let me also express my tremendous appreciation for Susie and Chris. The job you did. Susie, come here. Come here, Susie. Chris, come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay sort of in the back, let me tell you. The ice thing, we call her the ice thing, right? Chris, come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay in the background. She's not in the background.
This was unexpected, but I just want to thank, obviously, President Trump for this journey. It was a great one, and he's a hell of a candidate. And he's going to be a hell of a great 47th president. And this team that we had, the best team, and of course, even my boss, Susie Wiles, the best. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Susie. You're going to get shot. I've never seen her be shot before. Susie. They're great. Everybody up here is great. Everybody up here is very special. But the Trump, who did you say? Oh, let me tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon. Now he is. Now he's an amazing guy. We were sitting together tonight. You know, he spent 2 weeks in Philadelphia and different parts of Pennsylvania campaigning. You know, he sent the rocket up 2 weeks ago, and I saw that rocket, and I saw it coming down. I saw it. It was, when it left, it was beautiful, shiny white. When it came down, it didn't look so pretty. It was going 10,000 miles an hour, and it was burning like hell. I said, what happened to your paint job? He said, we've never made a paint that could withstand that kind of heat. And, but I saw it come down and turn around. And there was, you know, it's like 22 stories tall, by the way. It looks a little smaller than that, but it's big. And it came down, and you saw that fire burning. And I said, only Elon can do this. It must be an Elon. And I tell the story. I told it last night. I had a man on the phone. I had the screen muted, no sound. I was talking to a very important man, happens to be here. And that very important guy, one of the most important people in, I would say, the country, actually. But, you know, I was president, and now it looks like I was going to be maybe president again, so I figured I could ask him to hold. So I asked him to hold. And because, especially because you're going to be president again, they hold. So I took the phone down, and I'm looking at the screen. I'm seeing this crazy thing that's going around and coming down. It looks like it's going to crash into the gantry. And I said, oh, no. And I said, do me a favor, do you mind holding for a couple of minutes? I want to see this. I thought it was a space-age movie or something. I put the phone down, but I didn't pick it up for 45 minutes, and he was holding. But this spaceship came down, and I saw those engines firing, and it looked like it was over. It was going to smash, and then I saw the fire pour out from the left side, and I put it straight, and it came down so gently, and then it wrapped those arms around it, and it held it, and just like you hold your baby at night, your little baby. And it was a beautiful thing to see, and I called Elon. I said, Elon, was that you? He said, yes, it was. I said, who else can do that? Can Russia do it? No. Can China do it? No. Can the United States do it other than you? No. Nobody can do that. I said, that's why I love you, Elon. That's great. And you know, when we had the tragic Hurricane Helene, and it hit, in particular, hit North Carolina, they were really devastated. The water, this was a big water, as big as we've ever seen, water hurricane. It built lakes out of nothing. Fields became lakes, and the danger was unbelievable. And the people from North Carolina came to me and they said, would it be possible, at all possible, for you to speak to Elon Musk? We need Starlink. I said, what's Starlink? It's a form of communication. So I called Elon, And I'll tell you what, he had, and it was very dangerous. People would die. They had no communication. All the wires were down. I called Elon Musk. I said, Elon, you have something called Starlink. Is that right? Yes, I do. What the hell is it? He said, it's a communication system that's very good. I said, Elon, they need it really, really badly in North Carolina. Can you get it? He had that there so fast. It was incredible. So, and it was great. It saved a lot of lives. He saved a lot of lives. But he's a character, he's a special guy, he's a super genius. We have to protect our geniuses. We don't have that many of them. We have to protect our super geniuses. I want to thank some of the guys. You know, we have up here today the U.S. Open champion. He's fantastic golfer, slightly longer than me. It's a ball, a little bit longer than me. Just a little bit. Bryson DeChambeau is up here someplace. What happened to Bryson? Where is he? Bryson! Oh, here was shot. He's hitting balls. Oh, he's on the way. He's hitting balls. Bryson. Oh, look at him. He's got a great career going. Great U.S. Open, Bryson. That's a fantastic job. And we also have a man, Dana White, who has done some job. He's a tough guy. So Dana started UFC and came to me, do you mind if I use your, nobody wanted to give him a rinse because they said it's a rough sport, a little rough. And I helped him out a little bit, and I went, and I said, this is the roughest sport I've ever seen, but I began to like it, and he loved it, and nobody's done a better job in sports. And you know, he's a very motivational kind of a guy, what he does. He gets these fighters, and they really go at it. And it's become one of the most successful sports enterprises anywhere at any time. It's doing so well. I'd like to ask Dana just to say a couple of words because people love to hear from him.
Nobody deserves this more than him, and nobody deserves this more than his family does. This is what happens when the machine comes after you. What you've seen over the last several years, this is what it looks like. Couldn't stop him. He keeps going forward. He doesn't quit. He's the most resilient, hard-working man I've ever met in my life. His family are incredible people. This is karma, ladies and gentlemen. He deserves this. They deserve it as a family. I want to thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Nelk boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, also with the boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan. And thank you, America. Thank you. Have a good night.
That is a piece of work. Now he's really an amazing guy. But most of all, I want to thank the millions of hardworking Americans across the nation who have always been the heart and soul of this really great movement. We've been through so much together, and today you showed up in record numbers to deliver a victory like really, probably like no other. This was something special, and we're gonna pay you back. We're gonna do the best job. We're gonna turn it around. It's got to be turned around. It's got to be turned around fast, and we're gonna turn it around. We're gonna do it in every way, so many ways, but we're gonna do it in every way. This will forever be remembered as the day the American people regained control of their country. So I just want to say that on behalf of this great group of people, these are hard-working people, these are fantastic people, and we can add a few names like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he's going to help make America healthy again. And now he's a great guy, and he really means it. He wants to do some things, and we're going to let him go to it. I just said, but Bobby, Leave the oil to me. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas. We have more liquid gold than any country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia. Bobby, stay away from the liquid gold. Other than that, go have a good time, Bobby. We're going to be paying down debt. We're going to be reducing taxes. We can do things that nobody else can do. Nobody else is going to be able to do it. China doesn't have what we have. Nobody has what we have. But we have the greatest people also. Maybe that's the most important thing. This campaign has been so historic in so many ways. We've built the biggest, the broadest, the most unified coalition. They've never seen anything like it in all of American history. They've never seen it. Young and old, men and women, rural and urban. And we had them all helping us tonight. When you think, I mean, I was looking at it, I was watching it. They had some great analysis of the people that voted for us. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. They came from all corners, union, non-union, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, Arab American, Muslim American. We had everybody, and it was beautiful. It was a historic realignment, uniting citizens of all backgrounds around a common core of common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense. We want to have borders. We want to have security. We want to have things be good, safe. We want great education. We want a strong and powerful military, and ideally we don't have to use it. You know, we had no wars. 4 years we had no wars, except we defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS in record time, but we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. But this is also a massive victory for democracy and for freedom. Together we're going to unlock America's glorious destiny, and we're going to achieve the most incredible future for our people. Yesterday, as I stood at my last stop on the campaign trail, I'll never be doing a rally again. Can you believe it? I think we've done 900 rallies approximately from them. Can you imagine? 901 something, a lot of rallies. And it was sad. Everybody was sad. Many people, I said, this is our last rally. But now we're going on to something that's far more important, because the rallies were used for us to be put in this position where we can really help our country. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make our country better than it ever has been. And I said that many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness. And now we are going to fulfill that mission together. We're going to fulfill that mission. The task before us will not be easy, but I will bring every ounce of energy, spirit, and fight that I have in my soul to the job that you've entrusted to me. This is a great job. There's no job like this. This is the most important job in the world. Just as I did in my first term, we had a great first term, a great first term. I will govern by a simple motto: promises made, promises kept. We're going to keep our promises. Nothing will stop me from keeping my word to you, the people. We will make America safe, strong, prosperous, powerful, and free again. And I'm asking every citizen all across our land to join me in this noble and righteous endeavor. That's what it is. It's time to put the divisions of the past 4 years behind us. It's time to unite. And we're going to try, we have to try, and it's going to happen. Success will bring us together. I've seen that. I saw that in the first term when we became more and more successful. People started coming together. Success is going to bring us together, and we are going to start by all putting America first. We have to put our country first for at least a period of time. We have to fix it, because together we can truly make America great again for all Americans. So I want to just tell you what a great honor this is. I want to thank you. I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
All right, so that was Donald Trump's speech as he's now been elected to be the President of the United States again. It was a very Trumpian speech. I did not expect to hear from Dana White for there to be a Bryson DeChambeau shout out. But hey, that's what the man did. And look, I told you that I thought this would happen. My analysis turned out to be pretty good, I would say. I told you he would win Arizona. It looks like he's going to win Arizona. I told you he would win Georgia and North Carolina and Wisconsin. He did. It looks like I may be wrong about Nevada and Michigan, as Donald Trump may sweep all of the swing states. Donald Trump, who has survived 2 assassinations, who was radioactive not very long ago, has made a political comeback like one that I'm not sure we have seen. And I wonder if the Democrats will do any soul searching, if they'll do an autopsy, or if they will just blame Elon Musk and Joe Rogan. Because Donald Trump is a very beatable candidate. They could have beaten him in 2016 if they had not picked the one person who at the time was less popular than Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, and they lost. And they almost did the same thing and made the same mistake in 2020 with Joe Biden. If it wasn't for the pandemic, history would have repeated itself. And this time around, they lost because they pushed out President Biden, which they didn't have a choice, and replaced him with the least popular vice president in American history, who ran for president once and did not even get a single delegate. They thought that they could just capitalize on the fact that people disliked Donald Trump so much that they could shorten the campaign and they could win. And it almost worked. But they weren't taking into consideration the fact that the economy and border were going to be issues that were at the forefront for most of the American people. The Harris campaign made a mistake right off the bat when they went so long without having any serious interviews or conversations with media where she really told the American people who she would be as president. And hey, I think she made a mistake in choosing Tim Walz. He's a nice guy. I don't have anything against him. But if she had chosen Shapiro, Josh Shapiro, might that have made a difference in Pennsylvania? I don't know. The Democratic Party should do an autopsy. They should take this seriously. They should look in the mirror if they want to know why Trump won. He won because people are not satisfied with grocery prices and gas prices and inflation. They're not happy with the border because he chose a weak candidate and made the wrong pick at vice president as well. And that's just my take. That's just my 2 cents. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. But I've been keeping up with it, and I told you what I thought would happen. I told you how I thought this would go. And I was mostly right. So now I hope America can pick up the pieces. And I hope we can do what Chris Stirewalt was talking about earlier in the way that we treat each other, the way that we move forward. I know that if you are a Republican or Donald Trump supporter tonight, you are very excited. If you are a Democrat and we're hoping that Vice President Harris would win, that you are sorely disappointed. But in the end, we should all want the same thing. And that's for our nation to do well. That's for whoever is in office to succeed, because if they succeed and they do well and they perform their job well, it means that we receive good things too. At least that's the hope. And that's certainly mine. That's all for this week. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I can't even do all the I can't even do it. Look, follow us on all the socials. All right, like the show, give us a review. I'm exhausted. You can hear it in my voice. I've been awake for like 19 hours. I'm going to bed. Okay? We'll see what happened in Nevada. We'll see what happened in Michigan. We'll see what the final tally is. But Donald Trump has been reelected. This has been our In the Shed with Wes Anderson Decision 2024 election night coverage special. I hope you enjoyed some of it. Okay. Good night. And good night. Meemaw, we made it.
We sure did.